Wow. Hello, hello. I was given such an incredible opportunity to speak to you all today. And really, I was given the opportunity to talk to you about anything. Anything was on the table, whatever I wanted to talk about. So I went with the obvious option, of course, what any normal person would talk about. Eternal torture. Sisyphus was the king of Corinth in ancient Greece, and he defied death. Eventually, he was sent to the underworld, and he was punished by the gods. And this punishment took the form of Sisyphus having to roll a boulder up a mountain. Big boulder, tall mountain. And eventually, when he reaches the top of the mountain, the boulder rolls back down. And Sisyphus begins this process again, forever. Yikes. Not what you would call a fun day or existence, or maybe not. Because according to French philosopher Albert Camus, we need to think of Sisyphus smiling. How does that work? Well, Albert Camus says that we live in an absurd world, a world where reason alone can't give us meaning. There is no inherent meaning to Albert Camus, no meaning that exists fundamentally in nature. Camus says that's not possible. Now, many people would panic a little bit at this to say that there's no inherent meaning to the world, because we like houses with foundations, and the foundation of our lives is this meaning. But I think that's missing the point a little bit, because Camus also says that nothing is possible, but everything is given. What does that mean? Well, it's not possible to give this inherent meaning, but we are given the freedom to give meaning to anything that we want, to bestow that meaning. When we think about this concept of inherent meaning, I like to use this story. Imagine you're walking down the street in New York City, and Jeff Bezos, of all people, comes up and says hello. He extends to you a blank check and says to you, you can write any amount of money that you need on this check. Now, obviously, you being a reasonable person have a few questions. Is this illegal? Do I have to do anything for you? Where's my Amazon package? I ordered it 2 days ago. Jeff Bezos says, be patient, it's at your doorstep, for one. Two, nothing illegal going on. There are no consequences to putting any amount of money on this check. All you need to do is put a number down, whatever amount of money you need. So you have a follow-up question, right? Well, what amount of money do I need? What do I write down? What if it's not enough? And he says very simply, look, I have an infinite amount of checks. If that amount of money given to you isn't enough, I'll give you another. There is only one bad decision for you at this point that does not help you in some way, shape, or form. And that decision is to write nothing. Everything else helps you. It benefits you. So this is the question. Do you write something down? This is the situation that we all find ourselves in. It's really the only question that we need to be asking. Do you write something down? Because living in a world without inherent meaning just means that you are the one writing the number on the check and nobody else. Nothing is possible, but everything is given. You're unshackled from the world at this point. You have the ability to give meaning to anything and everything. Now, bad things happen for no logical reason in the absurd world. There's no higher power or purpose that we can appeal to. And that seems scary. You might think, do I just give up? Camus says the exact opposite. You must forge ahead and give meaning anyway. This is what Sisyphus is doing in the myth. despite having an eternity of eternal torment that is inherently meaningless, Sisyphus still finds purpose enough to smile. Camus calls this character's actions a triumph against the absurdity of the world. But there's more that we can learn about Sisyphus from this story, more that we can learn about the world. Because we as human beings don't like to change. We don't like to change at all, which is why struggle is beautiful. The opportunity that we get when struggle occurs is important. Let me ask you, when you go home, is there a shirt or an article of clothing that has holes in it, maybe is a little bit worn out, or an appliance that is making a really weird noise, but hey, it still works. It's not broken, so why would I fix it? This is what struggle points out to us. Struggle shows us things that are broken and areas where we can improve. When we think about this, when we think about struggle, it is an opportunity to improve ourselves, an opportunity to push ourselves and show what our limits are. Now, when we think of Sisyphus again, Sisyphus needs to put purpose, his own meaning to the struggle and improve. Perhaps Sisyphus wants to ascend the mountaintop just a few seconds faster, or perhaps he wants to improve on his boulder rolling form because he's a few thousand years old at this point and that lower back's killing him. But whatever the case, there is still opportunity to improve there for Sisyphus. Now Camus comes right out and says it. Sisyphus isn't always going to be smiling because struggle is inherently difficult. It's not all sunshine and rainbows all the time. But it's the opportunity there that matters. And it's also the fact that struggle is cyclical, where when we look at the struggle of Sisyphus, he will always leave the bottom of the mountain again. He will always reach the top of the mountain again. Struggle is not a binary state in the absurd world. You can keep going. When we think about this, we can think about this opportunity that Camus says that revolves around our fate. Camus says that fate is a matter decided by humanity amongst men, amongst people. We are in control of our own fate. And the choice is whether to stand again, to rise and ascend the mountain or not. Those are the two choices, the two options. Now, I can guess what you're all thinking. How is this remotely relevant to my life? Because last time I checked with all of you, you didn't roll a massive boulder up a mountain every day of your life. Now, there might be one of you out there, but I'm going to say on average, right? And you'd be half right. Because you're right. You're not rolling one boulder up one mountain. You're rolling many boulders up many mountains every single day of your life. I'd like to give you a story of one of my own boulders. So I grew up on a 28-acre plot of land that many would consider a farm. There's a creek that runs through it, big blue barn filled with equipment and tractors and things. There are black fences crisscrossing beautiful rolling green fields and apple trees that are absolutely splendid to look at when the sun goes down right behind them. And past that big blue barn near a dirt gravel road, beyond the creek and situated within those black fences, that is where we keep our guinea hens. Now you might be thinking, well, what's a guinea hen? Well, they're these small gray birds, right, that have black and white spots on them. And they are incredibly important for life on the farm because these guinea hens eat ticks, mites, grasshoppers, all sorts of insects that could do general harm. They protect the plants, the animals, and the people who live there. Incredibly important for the ecosystem. However, guinea hens have one serious flaw. They might be the dumbest birds that I could possibly imagine. A guinea hen will die of dehydration while standing in a puddle. A guinea hen I've watched run back and forth along a fence line for hours trying to get to the other side. When, mind you, these birds aren't like chickens. They can fly. They can fly high to the tops of trees, and a little fence that I can hop over, they can't manage. A guinea hen will run straight into the jaws of a waiting fox just because it's there. What I'm trying to say is that owning guinea hens is about as Sisyphean of a task as I can possibly imagine, other than being a Detroit Lions fan. But they are so much work, these birds. You have to feed them, water them, clean out their coops. And for all that effort, they're probably not going to last more than a year. 2 if you're lucky. So why do we do all this effort? Do we place meaning and value on the fact that these birds won't be around for very long? Or do we place meaning and value on the fact that they keep everything else in order, peaceful, all the good that they do? You see, boulders are around us every day of our lives, whether it be university classes, jobs, family responsibilities, so many boulders for so many of us. And in this way, Sisyphus is a metaphor for us. We are Sisyphus. Now, usually for us, the toil of our everyday lives isn't torturous. However, it is still a burden. Some carry greater burdens, others lesser. But all of us struggle. And Camus recognizes that we all struggle in this way. We struggle against the absurdity of the world. And now we must ask ourselves the question, where do we place our meaning? How do we become significant in a world with no inherent meaning? Well, Camus says this: we need to change our mindset for how we look at the world. We need to place meaning where we want to place meaning, grow in the struggle, and understand that success and failure are temporary, and instead focus on looking to the next mountaintop and continuing to go up the mountain time and time again. This is why Albert Camus says at the end of his book, The Myth of Sisyphus, that we should imagine Sisyphus' heart full as he ascends the mountaintop, that we must think of Sisyphus happy, because, again, we're Sisyphus, and if we can't imagine him happy, what does that mean for the rest of our existence? In this way, we must give meaning where we want to give meaning, because there is no inherent meaning there. We need to triumph over the absurdity of the world and grow in the struggle. And for these reasons, I ask that all of you think of Sisyphus smiling. Thank you.